remix coming on for Party Your Body. Oh yeah, a
You know,
2024
I know, right?
remix.
I know, and you know the funniest thing, I just got this program called Moses,
Uh-huh.
and I got Moses, and what's the other one we got? La Deco. Qual é o nome do outro? La La, and this other one La La, where
Uh-huh.
you can actually have a full recording, and I can go in and take the freaking lead vocal out without anything on it.
But I want to know, does
So
Moses depart the seven beats?
that's what it is,
Ah,
because he departs the Red Seas.
I see.
That's the one we say Moisés, but he can depart, he can separate,
Yeah.
you know, he can separate the tracks, which is
All right. Well,
fantastic.
I got to dig into that program. Freestyling with Stevie B. What's going on, world? You can catch us on all podcast platforms and now on YouTube as well.
Yes, great, great.
Congratulations. So
Yes,
a beautiful night, Friday night. We feeling all right, and this guy I've been trying to get on for a minute, Stevie, and we finally caught up with the man, the myth, the legend, Frankie from the
yes.
magazine dedicated to the genre freestyle. What's up, Frankie?
What's up, guys? Thank you so much for having me, man. I'm such a fan. Two icons here. Oh, man. Thank you so much for having me on board. Appreciate it.
It's our pleasure, brother. It's our pleasure. I got to tell you, just straight off the bat, the magazine looks fantastic. The covers look great. I don't know who's doing all of the you know your the layout and design, but it looks like a fucking legitimate magazine. It is. It looks hot. You
Yeah,
know,
well,
looks
let me,
fantastic.
let me first say that the reason for this magazine, I'm sure we'll get into it, but the reason for it is actually you, Stevie, man. I followed you throughout your career. I followed every interview you've done, every magazine interview you've done. And I'm fascinated by the idea of, since you have paved the way and have set the standard for freestyle music. And I'm as I talk to these new artists and the old artists, I'm wondering why they haven't followed that formula of success, why they haven't followed the same examples that you have done, and from your mistakes and from your wins, more importantly. But as I talk to these people, I'm thinking maybe they don't know how to get there. Maybe they don't know, they don't have a resource to read about how Stevie B got to be where he's at today with, by the way, 2.5 million fan base is not something you do overnight, but it's huge. And the impact that you've made in freestyle, I'm just fascinated about how people haven't yet figured that out, even though you've already put the blueprint out there, even though you've already set the stage.
I'll tell you this: the one thing happens in freestyle music, and I noticed this, since almost the beginning. You know, uh, none of the freestyle people want to admit that the other some other freestyle artist is probably doing better than them,
Mm.
and it's sort of like degrading if a New York guy comes to a Miami guy and asks him how he does certain things, or how did you get a certain deal, or whatever it was. They won't reach out like that, and I think it has to do with maybe a little bit of new, south north south egoism that goes into it. But I mean, I don't get. I mean, there's some you can tell are interested in learning some of your trade secrets and
Right.
things like that. But I think I'm going to say, for the most part, without being long-winded on this, I think a lot it's personalities more so than the fact that they'll do anything to win. To say, hey, look, let me find out what Stevie did. What is his trials? What is his tribulations? Because there's a wealth of knowledge that flows between the people, especially South Florida. We have a little different DNA than most of the people that come from New York or from the West Coast. So we have something to offer, but some of the people do not allow themselves to go and ask us those kinds of questions.
Well, Stevie, I come from a background of MMA. I'm from the mixed martial arts world. I'm that guy who puts the statistics together for the fighters and everything else. I saw that there was a need for that type of information to put out there to the world. And basically, in doing so, I realized that there was formulas to be in place. And so what I did was I took that that database, that formula that I created from the mixed martial arts world, and I brought it into the freestyle world. I come from a background also from an investigator point of view. I'm a certified forensic interviewer. So for me, I'm coming at freestyle from an investigative point of view. I'm coming in from a stats point of view. I'm coming in
Hmm.
from a point where if if you're at this level and there's other people who now we have this new freestyle that's coming up, or they want to be known. I'm that guy who analyzes what they're doing and how they're doing it and matching it. As for example, I would take you, I would take Stevie B and look at all your formats and all your platforms. I will figure out your fan base, which is easy to do. And then I would compare it to other artists. And then for me, it's like, wait a minute, this is like, it's not rocket science. All you have to do is follow the patterns. But I think that comes from education as well. Like some of these artists, and times have changed. I get it. Back in the days, it was all record labels who were pushing the artists. Now it's Spotify, SoundCloud, all those digital platforms. So I
Hmm.
get that the game has changed. So you have to be more strategic in your social media, but if you lay down the law, and I'm fascinated, my friend. Listen, I could be here for an hour and a half. I know we don't have that much time, but I'm fascinated in the fact that you, Stevie, if you analyze what you've done, if somebody has taken the time to
Hmm.
really structure what you've done, it's mind blowing.
Hmm.
It really is mind blowing to me because like I've done my homework again from an investigative point of view. I want to come into freestyle. I want to sit at the table knowing that I can have these conversations with the best and with the icons and bring them facts as opposed to fiction, right? And let them know,
Hmm.
hey, this is what it is. So when I see you, Stevie, and I've done my research, it's like you didn't start off with Stevie B. You didn't start off with that brand, right? And I believe, and
Hmm.
correct me if I'm wrong, there were stages in your Stevie B career where you started off with not even the name of Stevie B, right? And then you had to figure
Right.
that out with Midtown Records, and you had to change certain things, and then finally, and I hopefully we can talk about this, is the fact that who you've been influenced by and the people that you work with is what brought the product and the brand of the Stevie B we know of today, with the Spring Glove and Part of Your Body and things like that. And really, because I've
Well, I'll say
analyzed.
that. I'll say this. This is one of the main parts that happened. A lot of, and I'm compared to other people. A lot of the other people really started off, even like when I got my first deal, and we're gonna jump a couple of hurdles here. I started off with just a single deal. LMR didn't believe in. There was no such thing as dance artists or freestyle people getting album deals. That was almost unheard of. It was a one-off. You got your $5,000 check for the single, and that came with a couple of mixes, and then they threw in your publishing. They threw in a lot of shit. So it was an original fucking from the beginning, but
Wow.
it was a paid it was a paid ticket to be in the game. That's how I looked at it. I didn't know the game. I didn't know how it was structured. I didn't know wholesale, retail. I knew some of the things, but understanding how the game really was put together outside of what we might have thought it would be. Midtown was that first lesson when I used to go over to Busta over there in Miami and get my records pressed up, and I would learn how to do stampers and mothers. Watched Joy Boy. I watched all the people around Henry Stone and all those guys. So my first lessons was there, and then of course the first records was BVSMP with I Need You. This kid called Kid MC. Everybody from the down south. So without getting into the longer stories, I started off like that. I wanted to be an engineer, and when I couldn't get anybody to come in and sing well, I had to go in the booth myself. And then the kids from Homestead knocked on the door and said that they can rap, and that was Fred and Percy from BVSMP, and they did, we did the I Need You record together. Then I had another little kid, so I started off like that with Frankie, Funky Frank,
Yep,
down in
yep,
Bulls. Remember that,
Well,
Felix?
yep.
So
Rhythm.
Frankie, and he gave me, and that motherfucker gave me hell. I know Funky probably going to see this, but he didn't embrace me immediately. He gave me shit to get on that radio station, and it was the people in the hood down there, Naranja and all that, and of course Wizard and all those guys wind up picking up BVS and P with Merriweather and them, uh, uh, and that kind of started off a little bit, but I had to learn the business from the ground up, and a lot of artists didn't know what I knew about how the music business functioned as far as creating a product and then bringing it to being able to bring it to a wholesaler and then selling it retail or whatever it is. So it was just my business acclimate that really was driving me. As far as the Stevie B thing, it really was kind of like a fluke because I was already 29, 30 years old when I
yeah,
became quote unquote Stevie B, and it was a thing. You had everybody with the letters Stacy C and this one B, and I said, well, Stevie B, what the hell? Let's put it on there. So I pretty much started off like it wasn't until I really understood what I had in my hand is when I met Tolga. Then I knew because he was doing the action reaction record for Bo and Bo Griffin,
Rest in
and
peace.
he
Yeah.
really taught. Yeah, yeah. Rest in peace, Bo. That's what really sent me into the stratosphere to see. You know what? This is really a possibility here. If I could rein in all the talent that was just rearing to go, these guys were hungry. I was hungry, and we all worked together. And there was no egos because we didn't know, we didn't know how to have an ego yet. We hadn't made a freaking dollar. So, and I was still, I was fucking with trap houses and every damn thing else, trying to make a few dollars here and there. And that was right before it started snowing down in Miami. And I had to make a choice if I'm gonna stick with the music business, or I'm gonna stick with the Jose's down in Miami, and I'm gonna get rich, or I'm gonna be fucking dead. So, thank God that I sort of chose to be in the music business. I didn't have to go back and go to and do the Colombian dance down there. But
yeah,
I thank the universe for opening up doors for me because the Jamaicans is the one that was sustaining me down there with that Sensimilia,
nice.
and I had a couple spots. I'm just being straight up.
Yeah,
I had
yeah,
a couple
yeah.
spots.
Yeah,
So I think Frankie, I think it was just that street hustle in me that wanted to win at all costs at one point because you put your freedom on the line when but I wouldn't make that transition. I wouldn't make the powder and the rock transition. I was close, but thank God I didn't have to, and it wind up being a blessing for me to meet Toga, and after I met him, I saw it. I said,
yeah,
"This is it." I said, "This is a good opening," but there was still hell to go through. Now, don't get me wrong. That
yeah.
was the beginning of, yeah, that was the beginning of stepping out of diarrhea right into like harder shit. But you,
I love the way
you
it
got,
words over here. It's incredible.
Yeah,
yeah, I mean,
it really puts it in perspective.
I just try to
But
use a straight up analogy. So,
No, no, I
so
get it.
it was that. Now, once I did get in the music business, I realized, when I started going to New York, that a lot of the artists didn't know jack shit about the business. They were put in the studio, they were made to sing, and then of course they're going to go out and do their track shows. They're going to make a few dollars and live happily ever after. But if you notice, Midtown, I had a label before I met LMR. So
yeah,
the problem, and then immediately they kind of treated me with a little bit of respect because I had a co-label deal with them with LMR and to do distribution. So I already had that mindset. The problem was, how the fuck are you going to extract the money out of these motherfuckers? Kanye wasn't lying when he said what he said, and everybody
yeah,
knows what he said. And they got
yeah,
their hand on every athlete, every sports person, every fucking artist, almost anything that's got to do with entertainment. Their name is on everybody's fucking contract. That's a fact. I don't care who likes it or not. If they like it or don't like it, it's a fact. You
Yeah.
can't do a concert or get a building without them. You don't get shit. You don't get a deal. You don't get on the radio station without them. That's a fact. They know it. We know it. So guess what? But they're like this. So the fuck what? What are you going to do to me? And that's their approach today. What are you going to do about it? So they have that attitude, just like they have the attitude of what they're doing over in Gaza right now. I'm gonna skip over a little bit. They're like,
Yeah.
but you're murdering everybody. They say, well, what the fuck are you gonna do about it? You ain't gonna do
Yeah.
shit about it. Yeah, because we don't just control just Gaza. We control fucking everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah. You know
That's
what's
the bottom
amazing?
line.
Well, as I hear you say that story, which is an amazing story to me, because I don't think that's the reason for the magazine, is bring out those stories like that with other artists, those people who haven't heard that version yet. But also to bring another insight to the game of just not just freestyle, but the business of the music. Because part of what you've done is not just knowing the business, but I think you mentioned it before. You had the drive, the determination, and the passion from a business point of view to learn how to mix, produce, write, and all that good stuff. You're not just a artist, quote unquote. You're a one man band. You're the whole enchilada, if you will. But within that road, right? People who've seen you, people who realize and analyze you, from Midtown Records all the way to Stevie B Entertainment, all the way to Stephen Hill Entertainment, that from that point to that point, in the between, there's so many lessons that you had to learn, so many experiences that you heard, and so many mixes. But I always tell people, and I would love to ask you this, Stevie. I know 5 people. If you can name 5 people that are instrumental in your career to where you're at today, who would those 5 people be?
Toga Cadis, number one, first.
Mm,
Dajul Adabai, the kid that I met out in San Jose when I was putting my band together, he wrote "Love Me for Life," and if you look at a lot of the co-writing on there, this kid had something magical. See, because one of the talents that you have to have as a DJ, as a producer, because really a DJ is a producer. He has to produce that set for the night. He has to think about what people are gonna like. He has to be a program director. You have to be the fucking. You have to be the guy. You got to be the quarterback, the wide receiver. You got to be all of that out there because you're watching shit. You better feel it. As a producer, you better know or have a feel of what's going on out in them streets at the fucking skating rink. You better know what's going on at the theme parks. You better be going to know what's going on at bar mitzvahs, at weddings, what people are, are leaning
Clicking
towards,
with,
what's
yeah,
happening.
yeah.
You got to know what they're leaning toward, and then you got to think in the future too. I mean, we changed radio formats. That's where you think all the power stations came from. It came from us. It came from Colin Cavillis. It came from Snap. It came from all those people. So you have to be able to, read the tea leaves. And believe me, it was a conversations that we were literally talked about it. Uh, um, uh, and and calculated risks. Are we going to go more of a New York kind of feel, or are we going to stick with? Because Miami was more of a major chords, where New York was like a lot of minor chords. They were dark. They wore the trench coats and all that shit. Where me and Toga, we was in the fucking studio. Toga had fucking mini shorts and a pink tank top on because our weather. And then we live by the beach. We're in Lauderdale, so we ain't gonna have all them fucking snow clothes on. And our music didn't have those snow clothes on it either.
yeah.
It was happy. It was happy. It was
Yeah.
bright. It was major chords. It was talking about hope.
So
You
would you
know,
say
so
would you say the number three would be the DJs as far as influential in your career?
100%, and I was
Okay.
getting there.
Okay.
Al Peters, yourself, Phil Jones was in that. Uh, in radio, they didn't want to talk to us. At the time, they weren't having it. I mean, the only one that really saw it at radio, and I have to say, and he's in that top five. You asked me about five, is going to be what's his name from Power 96? Who died? What's the name of the
With
program director in
the
it,
Tanner?
Tanner.
Yeah.
Oh,
Tanner was instrumental in blessing us. And when Tanner went on us, it made Miami a bright light, and then New York, everybody else went, and and then of course Tanner went on to be a radio consultant. So Beasley Broadcasting, I gotta say, as much as people talk shit about them, they made Stevie B. So that's four, and I'm gonna have to say, I'm gonna have to say the fans, because those that like freestyle, it's a special. Deco, pode falar pra Paula, ela tá muito alto. Pode escutar a voz dela aqui. É mesmo? É. Fala pra ela baixar um. Eu tô na entrevista. Fala, Steve falou. Um, it was the fans, and I gotta say, even to this day, I'm doing Bares e Sonhos right now, and we're over 10,000 pre-sols right now just in Rio, without radio.
Wow.
Without radio.
Awesome.
So yeah, not one ticket got so, and I'm tracking my shows. I know we got 7 shows in rotation with the Bodies of Sonias. They just kicked in on Monday, and my tracking stayed the same even after radio went hot all day, and that showed me that we sold almost every ticket without one radio station, just through Facebook, Instagram, and
Amazing.
the what's the name, all the platforms. So
Yeah.
those 5 elements, of course, and I'm thinking, of course, I'm missing some things that are probably more important than others, but
The,
whoever, I wanted to say this, a freestyle fan is different from everybody else. Uh, uh, if you got the bug, you are in. You wasn't getting out. They don't switch. They don't go to hip hop. They'll listen to it. Da, da, da. But when you're a freestyle fan, and you know what the elements are, it's like arroz con pollo, my brother. It's like coffee con leche. It's some
yeah.
shit that starts to run through the veins.
Yeah, it's the go-to.
It's the go to. It really is. And and most people who listen to it, they listen to it for life.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to do a couple of things real quick here. And one of the things I really like about the Freestyle magazine, so you give people an opportunity to read. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a good.
They don't like to do that. They don't
Yeah,
like to do that in today's world. I can tell you that much.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've got a little piece here of the magazine. So Frankie, just walk us through a little bit on some of these pages that you got. Like what kind of elements do you have in there?
Right. So basically, right now, that's Charlie Rodriguez, the promoter. We're covering promoters. We're covering new artists. We're covering like Richie Rosario that you see there, a new artist in
We know
Miami.
Richie. He's a good kid. Really good
Really good
kid.
guy. Of course, we got DJs as well. DJ Lucho on there.
Oh,
We've
there you
got
go.
Rising,
Oh,
we
look at
got
that Bailes of Sonhos. Thanks, brother. That's fantastic.
yeah. We definitely want
I'm
to.
loving I'm loving your fucking magazine, bro. I'm loving it.
Yeah, it's definitely something that is for everybody, right? And a lot of people ask me, is magazine still alive? And I think my answer to them was, as long as there's a Barnes and Noble, as long as there's an Amazon, there will be magazines. As long as there's newsstands at the airport, I will continue to keep this magazine going. Now granted, we now offer two types. We offer the digital type and the printed type. So if you want to go
That was my
digital,
next question. That was my next question.
absolutely. So I wanted to make it a two-pointer, a digital and a printed. So you can go onto the website, freestylemusicmag.com, Freestyle Music Magazine, Freestyle Music Media. But more importantly, what I wanted to do was not only bring the stories to the fans, maybe from an educational point of view, so that way you can understand what freestyle is about. And I've got a lot of feedback since the magazines come out. I must have, Stevie, I'm telling you, I must have had 100 calls in the middle of the night, in the middle of the day, like, hey, we've seen your magazine. We just want to make sure, you're doing right by freestyle.
Yeah,
And,
yeah.
and I said, I get it. I understand what I'm about to get into, right? I've done my homework. But I don't want to be that magazine where I'm just focusing on one thing. I believe that if I share and balance out what freestyle genre is about, I think the magazine will do its justice. For
Hmm.
example, the first cover was about Charlie Rodriguez. He's a promoter here in Miami who's done many, many shows. He's been
I
doing
know
it for
Charlie. I know we all know Charlie very well.
Yeah.
Remember we're from down south. We
amazing
know him
man.
very well.
Amazing man. Been doing it for 35 years, and we actually opened up the magazine. Our debut was at Jungle Island on August 26th at his event. Amazing guy. But if they didn't know who Charlie Rodriguez was, they do now, right?
Yes.
And that's the point of the magazine, is to bring people to the forefront that you may not know who was behind a lot of things, but we're bringing it to the
Yeah.
forefront. The second thing from that became Mia, who I've seen her on your guys' show. She's an amazing
Hmm.
artist.
Yeah.
She is fascinating to talk to because she doesn't come from freestyle. She came from the Latin. Now she's coming into the freestyle world.
Yes.
And
Yes.
so there's a different mindset. There's a different type of business approach to her branding that I would like to get out there, so that if other artists are thinking the same way, they can
Hmm.
actually hang on to what she's doing and maybe even copy it, right? So then now we have promoters, we have new artists. The next magazine after that is Tony Moran, who's the icon and one of the icons of freestyle with the Latin Rascals and the
Yay,
history.
Tony. Yay,
Yeah, that's
Tony.
our boy, man. We interviewed him the other
We
day.
love Tony.
He's a
We love Tony.
amazing dude. Amazing.
the
Yes.
the history behind this guy. We had dinner a few weeks ago, and I thought it was going to be for an hour. We winded up a 3 hour talk, and it is just an amazing what he brings to the table and the history with
Hmm.
everything from Michael Jackson to Madonna. It is just incredible. So now, after that, what we've covered with the magazine is promoter, new artist, icon artists. Next are going to be DJs, front cover DJs, even breakdancers. Everything that made the genre is what we're going to cover.
Now
And to
you
even
also not to interrupt you, but you also have a podcast version of the magazine as well. Let me play this little clip real quick.
Where's your audio?
It's in there.
yeah, this
It's
is
kind of low. Kind of low. Oh, I see it. Okay. So awesome, Frank. I am very very impressed. I got to tell you. I mean, you're gonna be highlighted inside our podcast here from now on. This is going to be a staple in what we do here. But make sure we're broadcasting this. I love everything that it's about. I like the feel of it. I like the professionalism of it. And you ain't just freaking around. I mean, you going in. And,
yeah.
and we love it. I'm going to say congratulations. And I don't know why. When did you launch?
Actually 28 days from tomorrow. It hasn't even been a
Oh, so
month
you
yet.
just launched. So you just
Yeah,
launched.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
That thing looks like you've been on. That thing looks like you've been flying that plane for a while.
Well, I
Yeah.
appreciate it. Coming from you, man. That's an honor, man. But
Man,
that's
but I love the way this is looking, and
uh,
more so, I like the print part, and I also like the TV part of this, the podcast part of this also, because that's where we are right now in 2023,
yeah.
and you're going to be able to break some more. But I see where you went with the nostalgia. Are you going to have physical? I mean, those are physical magazines. Are you going to have physical magazines?
Absolutely. We've already printed it out. Our coming out party was again with Charlie Rodriguez. We printed 100 magazines just to give out, just to give to the people. I'm that type of guy. I come from the promoting world as well, so I'm that guy that will pass out flyers, and I will stay behind to see if any flyers
Uh
are left
huh.
on the stairs, on the floor. You know what I mean? Like everybody just walks out all the flyers everywhere. I did this with the magazine. There was 2,000 people in attendance. I had to give out 200 magazines. I was hoping to give out 100, gave out 200, and I went back to see if anything was left over or on the floor or on a chair. Not one magazine was left behind.
Amazing. That is
It,
amazing, man.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that. And I'm going to look to get you some sponsors too from Alan Beck and people with the concerts that do this. I don't know how your distribution is going nationally and what's the game plan, but
yeah,
everywhere that there are freestyle concerts, from Sal Abatello with Fever and Bobby D on the West Coast, Alan Beck on the West Coast, I'm pretty sure we can find some way to help you get this out. And of course, one hand washes the other. I think they should
Absolutely.
go hand in hand in the way they merge together to give out information. I think congratulations. I love it.
Thank you so much. Let me add just one more thing before we go. In order to put this all together, to your point, Stevie, I also created a website called freestylemusicevents.com.
Excellent.
Freestylemusicevents.com is a so easily to manage, is user friendly, and basically what it is, it's the number one website in freestyle, and I'll tell you why. Because there's nothing else like it. There's nobody else. Nobody else is doing it. You can
Right.
literally find every single freestyle event on that website, which you can't do anywhere else. And of course, from the marketing standpoint, is connecting Freestyle Music Magazine with Freestyle Music Events and bringing them two together.
I
But if
love
you
it. I love it.
if you
Yeah.
logged on to freestylemusicevents.com, I challenge anybody to call me up and say, hey, we're missing an event. We've got even the shows in Brazil. We've
Well,
got the shows.
you're hitting a hot button because when you think about it, no one else is doing what you're doing. I mean, there's guys out there doing newsletters and stuff like that. We've got Latif; he's doing a great job at what he does. But
Love.
what you're doing is got its own lane. You're actually creating a very well polished magazine. You're taking the time to do your homework and figure out who should be on the cover, who should be within the pages, what type of topics are going to be hot buttons for people and to pique their interest, so on and so forth, and make it exciting for people to want to watch from month to month. And obviously, you got to kick off 2024 with a bang, and
Yes, sir.
there's only one way to do that. So if you
Yes,
can read
sir.
between the lines, you know what's up.
Amen. Amen. I pray. But I tell you,
In
I'm
the
going to tell
grooves,
you
baby,
right
right
now.
in the grooves.
That's it,
In between
man.
the grooves.
This will be a disclaimer. I tell you right now, if I have the honor, the privilege to actually be blessed with Stevie B on the cover and make that happen, I will go in with these questions that I haven't heard anybody ask you ever, right?
Okay.
And
Don't
and
be
that's
scared.
and
Don't be scared.
Don't
no,
be scared.
and it's not a matter of going deep. It's a matter of educating not only the fans but the people that look up to you, that support you, that love you, and from a business aspect. Let's attack it not from a personality aspect, but from a business aspect. So where we can
Mm-hmm.
add value to the magazine through the content in which the artists in which we are interviewing, right? Because for me, the
Mm-hmm.
content is the most important. If we talked about every day, or the magazine talks about certain things that people already know, I'm that guy in the MMA world that couldn't stand it when a reporter tells a fighter after they gotten beat up and everything, and the reporter stands there
Mm-hmm.
and says, tell me, how was your fight? What? You didn't see this face? This is what it is. I mean,
Yeah,
that had
yeah.
to be
Get into it. Yeah,
let's get into something deeper. Like,
yep,
why
yep.
didn't you block the damn hit? You know what I mean? Why is you like that? But I think that the magazine, I haven't done it on myself. You ask who the designer was and everything else. It's me, So
Looks fantastic. Well, I got to give you props because it's just like what we're asking. Who influenced you? How did you get that style? How did you come up with that? You know what? I'm going to make it look like a real. I mean, it does look like a fucking really great magazine. It's
I appreciate
very appealing. It's bright. It's clean. It's professional. All high resolution shit. I see you.
I
And I
appreciate
think
it.
that people are going to appreciate that. And I think it's a void there. You have to know that there's a void in the marketplace to say, you know what, we're going to fill this void. And of course, I know a part of this is your own personal passion too. You can feel that.
Yeah.
You can see it.
Frankie, man, thank you so much for being on the Freestyling with Stevie B show. We really
Thank you guys
appreciate
for
you.
having me.
Good
It's
luck
been
with
an
the
honor.
magazine, bro. You're gonna sell 1 million copies. I'm telling you
Thank you.
right now, it's
And
gonna be
we're
crazy.
gonna get there. Thank you
Yes,
so
We'll
sir.
much,
talk
guys. I
about
love you.
we'll talk about it. We'll talk about getting Stevie B on there maybe the first of the year. I don't know how far you in with your interviews and stuff, but let's
Yeah.
talk about it and let's do something very impactful. And we want to make sure that Freestyling with Stevie B is involved in all the concerts and stuff that we take up some space in your magazine. All right.
I greatly appreciate it. Thank you
All
so
right,
much for
Frankie.
we'll be following you. So thank you so much for everything.
Take it all back.